Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Phil, and today we are talking about Jujutsu Kaisen episode 3. It's called Girl of Steel, and it's the introduction to the new character Nobara. And she was really interesting. She was more like a tomboyish, kind of aggressive type character, and we're gonna get into more about her in just a little bit. But it was a really great episode. We got to see her using her Jujutsu powers, and then we get to see a really good cliffhanger, and then kind of her backstory too, but a really great cliffhanger at the end. It's going to be crazy next episode. It's going to be really good, hopefully. So let's start off the episode. So it's picking up where we left off. We just get a little recap, the same as before, but it's we're picking up the third student. They had to go to Tokyo, and they're going to meet in Harajuku, which was upon the request of Nobara that we found out later. So it's Gojo goes with Fushiguro and Itadori, and they meet up with her. And then while they're waiting, Itadori is talking to Fushiguro, and he explains why that there's so few students. So, and then Fushiguro was like asking him, like, do you know anyone else that can see the curses? And then he's like, oh, that makes sense, because he says they're pretty much few and far between, and there's not that many of people out there that can actually see the curses. So that explains it. And we get to see Itadori in his new uniform. So he just got it, and it was modified by Gojo that we found out. And he said that it was like a red hood that they had on there, and they didn't really explain what was happening with that. They kind of left that open-ended, but my guess is going to be something having to do with them either controlling Sukuna just in case Itadori loses control or something goes crazy, or it's a way to track him in some way or like hide him. I'm not sure, because they said it was like a hoodie type thing. That's my guess. I'm not sure, but let me know what y'all think if on the hood. It's like a red hood that they added. So we finally get to meet the new character Nobara, and she keeps referring to Saori-chan is like somebody that we don't find out till much later in the episode. And it's like it's panning over different shots of the city, and for one, it's like the bakery that she was looking at, and that's just like foreshadowing for later on into the episode. So when we meet her, she's watching this like scout, this model scout that's like trying to recruit this girl that's walking by that's supposed to be like pretty, and he's like, do you want to do any work for us? And then after she rejects him, the guy is like moving away, and then she is like, what about me? Like she's like real aggressive, like she's like, you're not gonna ask me if I'm like am I good enough? And then he's like just trying to get away, making excuses like, oh, I'm just busy, I gotta get out of here, and like she's just holding him and not letting him go. So it's just like giving us a glimpse of what her personality is like, just really aggressive type. And then when she meets Fushiguro and Itadori, he's got like some snacks in his hand, he's got popcorn, he's wearing these like dumb glasses too, and we finally get introduced to her. So her full name is Kugizaki Nobara. And she says, be happy, boys, I'm the one woman in the group. And then that's when like the credits cut. So a little bit about her. Her voice actor is Asami Seto, and she plays a lot of supporting characters. I think I'll have a list of some of the other anime she's been on here on the screen. But I really like her voice acting so far. I know her voice sounded kind of familiar. I've probably heard it in a few other anime. But the opening plays, and then just like a little fun fact in case y'all didn't notice, like towards the end, there's like when it has the Mappa logo on it, it's when they're all under the tree. So in this episode before, it was just Fushiguro, Itadori, and then some other guy that we haven't really met yet. But now it's got the principal in there, and it's got Gojo. I think Gojo's already in there. There's Gojo, the principal, and now Nobara's in there. So it's just like adding more and more. So I think the more characters we get introduced to, the more that's going to be in there. And that's something I really like, that when anime do that, when they add a little something extra as the story develops into the openings. I really enjoy that. Or like if it has to do pertaining to the episode. Like I know Gintama would be really good about that. And that's why it was one of the reasons I loved it. So if y'all are one of the ones that skip the openings, make sure y'all go watch that and check it out. See if y'all missed anything. So a little bit about her. So we're back into her. So she's immediately just like staring, and I think she's verbalizing that she's staring at the two guys. And then she gets to see Itadori, and she's like this. He's like, he looks like a potato, like in her mind. Like he's just like this dumb guy. He probably ate his boogers when he was a kid. Like he definitely ate his boogers. And then Fushiguro, when he introduced himself, he just said like his name and nothing else about him. So he thinks he's like a stuck-up guy, and like thinks he's better than everybody. And it's like he was like burning animals, like the gulls. I think she was referring to like the seagulls with the oil on them. So she was just like really bad impression of the guys right off the beginning. And so we get a Gojo kind of like wrapping everybody up. So since we got two country kids here, we're gonna take everybody on a trip of Tokyo. So they get really excited. So Itadori and Nobara like are doing like this little happy dance. They're super excited. They're saying like, "Oh, I love Tokyo," because they're thinking they're about to go on like this huge like vacation tour type thing and see all these different places. And then like when Gojo's talking, they're like kneeling to him, like they're just ready, like just showing so much respect. And Gojo says they're going to Roppongi, which I'm not really sure. I guess it's a city that's fun in some way. So, but they're actually going on a different mission. So they get called to like this abandoned building that's right next to a cemetery. It's like it's got a lot of cursed energy and a lot of cursed vibes going around with it, and they're supposed to exorcise these curses that are inside of it. So that's the whole deal that they're gonna do. And Gojo even says, think of it as like a field exercise for you guys. And this is when we find out that this is when Nobara finds out actually that Itadori ate one of the fingers of Sukuna, and he ate the special cursed object. And she thinks it's like super disgusting. And Fushiguro was even agreeing with her. But that's when we find out that because Itadori wasn't sure how he was going to be able to fight the curses since he needs cursed energy to exercise one. And then Gojo says he's pretty much half cursed now just because he was able to eat Sukuna. So he's got that power anyway, but he's not really able to control it yet. But what happens is he gives him a cursed tool called the Slaughter Demon, which is like this really kind of like small one-handed sword he can use. And that's how he's going to be able to fight the curses while he's in there. So they're getting ready to go in, and something I liked and that I noticed is that I really liked the noise that Nobara had when she was putting on her belt, and just the animation they did with it. There's not really anything important. I just really enjoyed that. I just like putting stuff in there that I enjoyed. And also, before they went in, Gojo says to Itadori that he's not allowed to use Sukuna. And the reason is he'd be able to take care of the curses really fast, but I think he'd call in even more curses and bring people in that shouldn't be involved, is what he was saying. So he can't use Sukuna, so he's just got to rely on his own strength. So for this mission, it's only Nobara and Itadori, and they're sneaking around, going through the different floors. And really the one being tested here, Gojo says, is Nobara. They're trying to see how she's going to react to the like city curses rather than the countryside curses, because later we find out there's actually quite a bit of information we found out about curses in this episode. But that's kind of like her test, this little field exercise for her. So they're like arguing while they're going through. Itadori is giving her like crap about how curses are dangerous, because she even suggested she wanted to split up with them and kind of finish up so they can go get sushi. But she's like, I'll go to the top floors and I'll start from the top and go down, and you start from the bottom, and then we'll just meet up from there and go floor by floor. But he's like, curses are dangerous. Like you're not gonna be like, you need to like be careful. And then she ends up like kicking him, getting upset because like she didn't want to get like scolded from like a newbie or a noob. I don't know. I remember how she described it. So they actually ended up splitting up. She goes upstairs and he stays where he is, and he's like calling her like a bitch and stuff, and like being mad at the way he was getting treated. But as he's doing that, there's a curse that comes from the ceiling, and it's like this kind of like a bug looking thing. It had like, I think it was 3 legs, and it had like a 6-pack thing, and it had a lot of eyes on top. And then it tries to attack Itadori, but he was able to like block it and cut it instead. And then as he's like getting up from it, it says, "Do you need a receipt?" This is what the curse was saying. So it was probably like a worker in the area or somewhere in the building. So it's like a curse that went on from there and from the location it was made from. So in this situation, Itadori's like really quick to attack and like not ask questions, and he doesn't hesitate. And even Gojo mentions that too, how that's something about him, that he doesn't hesitate when he's fighting these things. And even though he doesn't have a lot of experience with curses, he's able to make these quick decisions and kill, even though it's new to him, he's able to do it. And he's like saying he's got some screws loose up top, and so that's good because you need to be kind of crazy. So he's trying to figure out if Nobara is crazy too, because a lot of these new sorcerers from like the Jujutsu schools, they get frustrated because they can't overcome their fear of like these nasty curses and the evil and the kind of things they've got to go through to be able to kill these curses. So now it cuts to Nobara, and it's upstairs, and there's like this room with a bunch of mannequins at the back of the room. And then she's like I know you're hiding there, like you're not fooling anybody. And then she attacks this middle mannequin that's right there, and her attack was pretty interesting. So she uses like a hammer, like a regular hammer, and she had 2 nails, and the hammer had like a little heart on the head of it, around that area. And she like infuses her cursed energy with it, and then she hits the nails in the air with the hammer, and it attacks her target, I guess. And what's also nice is that if they're in there, she can like force it to go deeper and deeper into the whatever it's stuck in, is what it seemed like. And so the mannequin starts coming to life, and the eyes come out, and then she ends up killing it real quick just by making the head explode with the nails she was using. So it was really cool. It was really cool animation during that whole thing. And I liked how the cursed energy looks. It's like this black outline flame. It's blue flames with like a black outline. It's really cool. I'm really liking these kind of animations in this fighting style. But after doing that, she finds that there's like a little kid hiding, like a little boy. And he's like pretty scared. And he doesn't want to go with her immediately. So she's like, I guess like kids are shy around pretty women or beautiful women. But then she's about to go and get Itadori. And as she's saying that, he's like, don't leave me. And then another curse comes from the wall. And this one's really gross looking. It's like it's like an ET, like a really hairy ET, like fat, kind of bigger than that. And it just grabs the kid and has a nail to its neck. And it's kind of holding the kid hostage. So he's making, even though it's like a lower level curse is what they said, it's like a 3 or 4, she even mentioned. But these city curses have like developed differently than the country curses. So they have this kind of like cunning is what Gojo was saying. So they're smarter and they're able to use like their intellect against the Jujutsu sorcerers. So she's like debating whether or not what to do, or whether she's gonna try to help the kid or just try to attack the curse. And she like first she was thinking that it's better in everyone's interest, especially for her to just live and then attack it and just don't worry about the kid. But ultimately she decides to try to save the kid, and so she gets rid of all her weapons, puts them on the floor, and she's got her hands up, and she's like, all right, I give up. And then the curse doesn't like comply with what she was doing. It just starts smiling like real nasty with these big teeth, and so it wasn't gonna let the kid go. So he's about to, I guess it's about to attack both of them. And all of a sudden, Itadori punches through the wall. And he's able to cut off the curse's hand and save the kid. And as that's happening, the curse is trying to run away. Like, he gets scared. He kicks the curse, actually. As that happens, Nobara asks for the hand. And he's like they're just freaking out. And then she opens up her jacket, and she's got like this straw doll thing, is what they said. And it's like within her, like just on the side right here. And she gets it, and as that's happening, it jumps out the window, the curse does. And Fushiguro sees it, and Gojo sees it, and he's like, should I kill it? Like, or I'm gonna kill that thing. And then Gojo just tells him to wait. And this is when we see Nobara. So she impales that straw doll with the hand, with her hammer and nails. Like, she infuses that energy with it, and it was really clean animation. I guess this is one of her stronger techniques, because all of a sudden that curse just explodes out of different places with like these nails or spikes, and then it ends up just disintegrating and dying. So she was able to get the curse, and that was a really cool attack. And right after that happens, we get thrown into a flashback. So in the flashback, we find out who the Saori woman is that she keeps referring to. So it was this lady that moved from, I guess she moved from Tokyo to the village that Nobara lived in when she was, I think she even said, first grade. And she said she was as cute as a doll and as kind as a nun. So it was just, I guess, just describing the kind of person she was. And immediately, I guess, upon her entering the village, she was ostracized by the other villagers or the other citizens, because they thought that she was better than them, and they thought she thought that they were just like these lowly humans. But she wasn't anything like that, unless Nobara doesn't have the whole story, which we're not sure yet. It might just be like her memories of how she's remembering this. So the villagers keep like harassing her like a whole bunch. So they're like piling snow up in front of her house. They're graffitiing and damaging her property, especially her car is what they kept showing. Like, they just wrote different words like "get out" or like "your car's destroyed," or "they broke the window," just stuff like that. And so for the whole time, it seemed like that Saori lady was being really kind to Nobara as a kid. Like, and then the scene that why we were seeing the bakery and stuff early on was that the lady would always make this for Nobara when she was a kid. And then she would say that, like, these are good, but the ones that we get from the bakery are so much better. So ultimately, the villagers get what they want. They drive her out of the city, and then we don't really see her leave. This is something I was like speculating on, because all it shows after that was a sign, and this is what the sign said. It says, "This bridge is dangerous due to deterioration from age and can no longer be used." And then as soon as we see that, we see a doll's head in the snow, like just a doll. So I didn't know if it was like hinting that Saori didn't make it back to Tokyo, that was actually like she died from some reason. maybe on the bridge, but I didn't know. Let me know what you guys thought, because I wasn't sure how to interpret that way that they showed us in that scene. So, because we hadn't seen Saori at all, or it seems like she hasn't had any contact with her. So it jumps back to the present time, and it's back with Itadori and Nobara, and she's freaking out that he was able to like punch through that wall. And she's like, "What have you been eating to be able to do this?" And he's like, "It wasn't even reinforced." He was like, "It doesn't even matter, because like no human, like normal person should be able to do that." And like as they're arguing, she's like, "You've been asking a bunch of questions. Like, let me ask you, like, why did you come to Jujutsu Tech or Jujutsu School?" And she said it's because she hates the countryside and she wants to live in Tokyo. And it was just like a simple answer. And then he's like, "Are you willing to risk your life just for that?" And she also said it was because of money, something about the money. And then she said she can risk her life because in that way she's still being true to herself, which is something that the principal even was like getting on to Itadori about. Just like make it be your decision, like be about you. So that's, even though it's a different reason, she's got a good reason that it's her choice is what I'm trying to get at. It's her choice that she made. So it was a good reason. And then we get this monologue, and it said, "If I had stayed in that village, I'd be good as dead," is what Nobara is saying. And then she's saying, "Saori-chan, I finally made it to Tokyo. If we meet again, take me to that bakery you mentioned." And I guess that was just it. So I guess she hasn't had any contact with her. So she thanks Itadori, and then after that, she's like taunts him right away. She's like, "I guess we're even now," and she's just going back and forth. It's just showing you that she's like, her personality is very like flip floppy. Like sometimes she's really sweet, and then she can be like aggressive and kind of like joking around with them. So right after that, Gojo and Fushiguro are able to take the kid back to his home or show him how to get back. Like they were all happy, they were worried, and then Nobara is mentioning how she gets like upset whenever she's angry. And Itadori's like, "When aren't you upset? Like you're always in a bad mood." And this is when they're trying to figure out where they want to eat. Like this is not super important right here. They just figured out where they wanted to eat. Itadori wanted steak and Nobara wanted sushi. And then like Fushiguro was just upset because he couldn't join into the exercise. And then this was the super interesting part of the episode. It was this like, I guess somebody recording, or like it was like somebody was recording events that had happened. So this is what it said. This was like super cool how they did it too. It had like the text going over, and then it had a scene, then it had text, and it had scene. So it was like log July 2018, West Tokyo City, Aishu Juvenile Detention Center. In the sky above the exercise yard, unnamed apparition of potential special grade. Its cursed womb was witnessed by several non-jujutsu sorcerers. And after that happens, it shows us this like really gross golden ball, kind of orangey golden ball, and inside was like it was like a fetus almost, like a slimy, like it was like slimy. It looked like the inside of a womb for real, like when you see in like the movies, like the sonograms and stuff. But it was actually like a monster, had like teeth, and like an eye was really far down, and it was kind of big. It seemed kind of big from the perspective we were given. And then after that, it said, "Due to the emergency nature, 3 Jujutsu Tech first years were dispatched to the scene, and 1 died." So I'm not sure what's being implied there, because I don't think they're going to kill off these first 3 characters early on. And if they did, it'd be a huge shock, because like we just got introduced to all 3 of these guys in like these first 3 episodes. But that's why I was like, it gave us a huge cliffhanger at the end. And I'm really excited for the next episode. Episode 4 should be coming out this Friday. And then just to end the episode off, we wanted to give y'all some information we learned about the curses in this episode. So for curses, people associate cemeteries with fear. That's what gives it the energy and the strength for the curses. Curses are also born from human minds. So being in a huge group in a huge town with a lot of people makes curses more abundant and more powerful. And Gojo says it's proportional with the population. And then curses in Tokyo are on a different level from the countryside. So like there's not a lot of people in the country. And then Tokyo's so compact and there's so many people there. So they're going to be a lot stronger. And not only stronger, but they'll have more intellect, is what Gojo was saying. And that's pretty much a lot of the little fun facts we learned about the curses and for future episodes. So the ending plays, and then the last scene is they're fighting over where they're going to eat. And Itadori loses like rock, paper, scissors to decide where they're going to go. So they're going to get sushi, but Itadori decides where they're gonna get Sushi because he wanted like the little conveyor belt. But that was the end of the episode. That was the whole thing. Hope this wasn't that long. Next time it's episode 4, Cursed Womb Must Die. And from the preview, it looked like it's gonna be really cool. It's like this little, I saw this little creepy, I don't even know what it looked like. It was super awesome. But thanks for sticking around. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for watching. And I'll see y'all next time on episode 4 for Jujutsu Kaisen. Y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all later. Peace.